Hello students, welcome to Vidyaniketan. Are you ready for today's class?
Everyone, welcome to Vidyaniketan. So today we will continue with our previous chapter, the universe. Let's begin. The solar system. What is the solar system? The sun and all the bodies revolving around the sun together make up the solar system. So we see that the solar system consists of sun, which is a star, the 8 planets and their natural satellites. We all know that every planet has their natural satellites. Like for Earth, we have the moon. So similarly, there are other planets which who have different number of natural satellites. Like we have only one moon, but other planets have different number of moons. Then there are meteoroids. Then there are asteroids, comets, and so on. There are total 8 planets in our solar system. This is a picture of the sun and we will learn about all these bodies in details in our next slides. So let's move on to the next slide. The sun. When the sun was first formed, it was at the center of a huge disk of gases and dust spinning slowly. Okay. So with the passage of time, some of the matter in the disk clumped together to form planets. Smaller planets, the smaller clumps that were formed the dwarf planets, the other formed the asteroids and comets. All these bodies move around specific paths held by gravitational forces called orbits. So, what do we learn from this part? We find we learned that there was a huge disk of gases and dust which were spinning slowly, and sun was situated at the center of this disk. Okay, and these dust and gases were spinning around the sun slowly. As time passed, some of the matters from this disk clumped together. They started forming clumps. Okay. Some clumps formed the planets and the other clumps which were smaller in size, they formed dwarf planets and asteroids and comets. All these celestial bodies which were formed from these clumps, they move around specific paths held by gravitational forces around the sun. Okay, those gravitational forces are different for each planet or each celestial body, and the paths around which these planets and these celestial bodies move is called the orbit. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Here is a picture of the solar system. This is an animated picture. So we can see that here is the sun and these are the orbits around which these planets and these celestial bodies move around the sun. So we see that Mercury is the closest planet. Mercury is the smallest and also the closest planet to the sun. Okay. Then there comes Venus. Then there is Earth, then we have Mars, and there are asteroids, comets, Jupiter, Saturn, and so on. So it has been found that Sun is about 3,33,000 times heavier than the Earth and 149 million kilometers away from us. So by this distance we can find out the time which the sunlight takes to reach our Earth. As we all know the speed of light, and we know the distance, and we can find out the time. So the time is 8.3 minutes which the sunlight takes to reach our Earth. We have discussed about this equation in the previous class also. Okay. So let's move on to the next slide. Planets. There are total 8 planets in the solar system. The names are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Pluto is now not considered as a planet. Pluto is actually a dwarf planet. Planets closer to the sun are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. Okay, as we have seen from the previous slide that these are the planets which are closer to the sun. Okay, they are closer to the sun, and they are also comparatively smaller in size than the other 4 planets. Okay, so these planets are called the terrestrial planets. What do we mean by terrestrial planets? Terrestrial planets mean Earth-like. That means they are like Earth. They are almost closer in size to the Earth. Okay. They all have rocky surfaces. And now we move on to the next slide. The other 4 planets are called the gas giants. Okay. Why they are called the gas giants? Because they are mostly made up of gases and they are also very large in size. Okay. As we can see from this slide that this Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, they are so larger in size and they are mostly made up of gases. So they are also called gas giants and they are also known as Jovian planets, which means Jupiter-like. Okay. Jovian planets means Jupiter-like, like they're similar to Jupiter. See, they all are almost of similar sizes and they are very huge and they are all made up of gases. So they are also called Jovian planets or gas giants. Now moving on to the next slides, we will learn about Mercury. We know that Mercury is the closest to the sun and it is also the smallest planet. Okay, it is the smallest planet and closest to the sun. It revolves around the sun very fast. Okay, this is the sun and this is Mercury. So this is the orbit of Mercury. So Mercury revolves around the sun very fast. Like it takes about 88 days to complete one revolution around the sun. Okay, 88 days. But it spins, it rotates about its axis slowly. Okay, it does not rotate very fast, it rotates about its axis slowly and the time taken by Mercury to rotate about its own axis is 58 days. So it is actually very large compared to the revolution time. Okay. So now we will learn more features of Mercury. Okay. In Mercury there is hardly any air. That means there is no atmosphere. Okay. The Mercury has no air. Okay. So life cannot be sustained. Life does not exist in Mercury. The temperature of Mercury swings immensely. Okay, because there is no air, so the fluctuations in temperature is very large and the ranges of lowest temperature and the range for lowest temperature and the highest temperature is very high. Okay, like during the daytime the temperature of Mercury can exceed up to 400 degrees Celsius. Okay, and during night time the temperature of Mercury can fall up to 180 degrees Celsius, minus 180 degrees Celsius. So this range is very high. Okay, and this is only because there is no air present in Mercury. So this temperature fluctuation happens. Then there is the glare of sun, for which we generally cannot see Mercury. Okay, this glare, because since it is very close to the earth, close to the sun, this is the sun and this is Mercury. Since this is very close to the sun, so from here, from earth, we cannot see Mercury clearly because of this glare of the sun. Okay, so this we can say that the glare of this sun hides Mercury from our view. Okay, but Mercury is sometimes seen during sunrise or before sunrise in the eastern horizon. Okay, at some places in the eastern horizon, we can see Mercury at some time of the year before sunrise, and the other times of the year we can see Mercury from the western horizon after sunset. Okay, so these are some facts about Mercury, and we also know that it is the smallest planet and also closest to sun. So these facts are asked sometimes in questions in exams. So we have to write about these facts in points. Okay, so now let's move on to the next part. This is Venus. So Venus is the most brilliant planet and it is often called the morning star or the evening star. So why is it brilliant? We will see. It is called morning star because during sunset or before during sunrise or before sunrise, Venus is seen from the earth. Okay, Venus is generally visible from the Earth before sunrise, and it is generally seen in the east. Okay, always it is seen from east. That before sunrise we will see that a shining planet, which is the Venus, in the sky. Okay, so that's why it is called the morning star when it is seen from the east before sunrise. And after sunset, it is visible from the western part. Okay, we will see in the western sky that Venus is visible after sunset. So that time it is known as the evening star. Okay, so what we learn that Venus is, we learn that the Venus is morning star and also evening star when it is viewed after sunset. Right. So now we will learn why Venus is a brilliant planet. Venus is actually a brilliant planet because of its dense atmosphere. Venus has a dense atmosphere, and because of this dense atmosphere, uh, it consists of mostly CO2. The atmosphere of Venus is mostly CO2, that is carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide reflects a lot of sunlight, and that's why it shines very much. This carbon dioxide reflects a tremendous amount of sunlight, and that's why it shines, and that's why it is also known as a brilliant planet. Okay, it is also known as a brilliant planet. So since this atmosphere of Venus is mostly made up of carbon dioxide, mm, so this carbon dioxide traps a lot of heat, and making it the hottest planet. Since this is it has a dense atmosphere with carbon dioxide in maximum percentage, so it traps a lot of heat, and that's why it is also the hottest planet in this whole solar system. Okay, hottest. If in the exam they ask that what is the hottest planet in the solar system, we will write Venus. The temperature of Venus is on an average about 450 degrees Celsius. Okay, it's very hot. And then we move on to the next features of Venus. That is, Venus has almost the same size as Earth, and it has certain surface characteristics, that it has volcanoes and craters in its surface. It has many volcanoes in its surface, and also many craters. Okay, it is almost same in size as the Earth. There are volcanoes and craters, and that means it has an uneven surface. Okay, and the time of rotation of Venus is, it takes 243 days to rotate. Okay, it also rotates very slowly. Okay, Venus also rotates very slowly. It takes about 243 days to rotate, and it takes 224 days to revolve. Okay, so revolution time is less than the rotation time, right? That means, can you so you can see that, you can understand that this how slow this Venus rotates, and in fact it completes its revolution around the sun, and still it hasn't completed its one day. Okay, it takes like, what we in Earth, what is equivalent to one day, it's 24 hours equivalent to one day. But in Venus, when it takes a turn, about its own axis, it has completed 243 days to take this turn. Okay, so uh, therefore Venus has the longest day. I mean, the one day in Venus is equivalent to, we see that, okay, let me write it here. One day in Venus is equivalent to 243 days in the Earth. Okay, so It has the longest day. And in Venus, there is also another feature of Venus. In Venus, if we see from Venus, we will see that sun rises in the west in Venus and it sets in the east. Okay, sun. Let me write it here. Sun rises in the west. Sun rises. There is this problem. Let me write it here. Here. So here in Venus, sun rises in west and it sets in the east. Sets in east. Why is this so? Because Venus does not rotate from west to east. It rotates from east to west. Okay, like the Earth rotates from west to east, but Venus rotates from east to west about its axis. Okay, that's why this happens. Sun rises in the west and sets in the east.